How's he headed there?
What has been confirmed through the Department of Health.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, Elise. Oh, good. Some other people are connected with video. For a minute, I was afraid I was the only one that was going to have everybody look at me this morning.
That's funny. Hey, Elise.
Morning.
You've done a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I don't feel like I've done a great job, but I'm glad you think that.
Oh, no, you have, Elise. Elise worked all weekend and has been working to solve however the issue got created with Transaction Desk, and I'm not sure how. I mean, we have agents join us and join other brokerages all the time, and I've never experienced this before. And so we've Elise put in yeoman's work this weekend to get everything solved for Margie, and she's got Heidi pointed in the right direction. I think there's still a few files we're missing, but Elise is running it down as fast as she can, and we are so grateful that she has been working so hard.
Are you having to put everyone in individually?
Yeah, I was having to save each file to my computer and then re-upload it under that person and basically create a brand new transaction for each one. What I did this weekend is I went through every single active listing that we currently have and connected all their Transaction Desk documents that need to be public to them so that I could see which ones really had an issue and which ones just hadn't gotten to yet. I think there's 3 properties out of the 141 that are at the Keller Williams Four Seasons Realty office that aren't connected right now.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, Elise, I got to say, we knew that the Four Seasons group had a lot of great agents, and so we were excited about being in business with all of them. You have been the absolute cherry on top of that sundae because you are a hoss. There is no other way to describe it. You are incredibly, incredibly capable and helpful, and we're very grateful to have you as part of the group.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be part of people that take care of me and value me because I've worked in a lot of places where neither of those things happened.
Well, you are definitely strong. Definitely strong. So good morning, everybody. I'm seeing some names on here that I'm guessing are a part of our Branson family. We want to welcome you guys in as well. We're glad you're joining us. Today, we're going to cover a subject as far as getting paid in command with Karen and Connie and talking about compliance issues, little things like that. And I'm going to, Karen will probably share her screen to show you the work for flat fee commissions. I know there's been a lot of questions in the last week about that, so we'll go through that again, I'm hoping, Karen. Karen, can you hear me? She just logs in, so we think she's here. She's not. Oh.
Well, I talked to you and then you muted me, so I understand, Martin. I get it.
Okay, sorry. I have to remember to mute everybody when everybody's logging on. So I'm glad everybody's here. I want to remind you guys, and I'm going to email out Elise. I'll get you to email out the link to all our people. Please, please, please sign up for Bold Pivot. We have 30 scholarships, 30 scholarships, right? If you haven't reached out to Amy to get your scholarship, and Branson, I know you guys have 30 scholarships as well. Take advantage of it. If someone is willing to give you access to training at Bold's level for free, to take your business and grow it at that pace and do the things for you that Bold does. If you don't believe me, reach out to Matt, Sherry, Tiffany, anyone that's been to Bold before. They will tell you that it is a difference maker in your business, right? I can tell you guys it is you see the agents come out of that with a whole new perspective on their business. You see them grow through so many fears, push through so many walls, and to get it for a $99 value and to have us basically saying, hey, we'll give you a scholarship to the first 30 people that sign up, excluding ALC members and top agents like you, Matt. You don't get a scholarship, but the rest of them, we'll take care of you. And guys, I was on there today. We've got 11 signed up out of 140 people. That's a little low, right? So leadership, if you haven't signed up, you need to go sign up. And the rest of you agents, either here or at Branson, please reach out to your respective MCAs or ATLs, whoever's handling it. I know Amy's handling it for us here. I'm sure Monica or Cretia is handling it in Branson. And get signed up. Take advantage of the scholarship. We are going to reduce our Zooms next month because Bold's going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Region has Wednesday training. So starting next month, we'll be going Monday and Friday for local Zooms, and you'll want to dive into that training on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon. So if you have any issues, give me a call or an email, and we'll talk about it. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know lots of agents are still doing business, and we're hopeful that as they roll back the stay-at-home here pretty soon, the curve is flattened and everybody will get out and your business will fire back up. So I'm going to turn it over now to Connie and Karen. I don't know, are we able to share Bold with those not at KW? It seems we did this before. Yes, please. That, you know what, Jenna, that is a great question. Please, please, please reach out to any agent you know, any friends you have that's struggling, especially if you know somebody that's a small brokerage that doesn't have the resources to support their agents right now. Reach out and say, hey, come to Bold. It's normally $800. They're doing it for 99 bucks. I know here at the lake, I've got about 10 scholarships for out of our office agents. So if they're here at the lake, tell them you can get it for them for free. Just tell them to come sign up, and Bold is open to all. It's definitely a huge thing. So Jenna, that's a great question. Please, please, please invite any agent you know to attend Bold Pivot. Send them the link, get them to sign up. We'd love to have them. Our market center up here is 971. I don't know the number of the one in Branson. You'll have to give them that when they sign up, but otherwise, yes, please sign them up. Elise says she's going to Bold as well. So, all right, we're going to get started. Connie, Karen, I don't know which one of you wants to start. Connie, it looks like.
I want to start.
All right, Connie, take it away.
I just want to remind everybody that the clear cooperation from NAR begins May 1st. Please, please don't get fined for advertising a property that you haven't got into MLS. The rule is once you advertise it, once you put a sign on it, once you do any kind of advertising, you've got 24 hours to get into the MLS. So please remember to do that, and let's don't get any fines for not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Connie, I'm glad you brought that up, because on Friday we went over how to send out mailing campaigns through Command, and we looked at how easy it was. Jenna, I've even got some people I'm gonna be sending your way from your Facebook ad we rolled out as well. But we looked at how easy it was. Margie did the math and showed that she could save over 75 bucks just on a 300 card mail out, just using our system. So we're really impressed with the numbers. One of the questions that kind of popped up was there's a chance to send out a coming soon postcard, right? So how do we manage that with this new rule, the coming soon?
It's my understanding that we can't, and I'll verify that, but my belief is you don't advertise anything until you have it listed, and once you get it listed, it has to be in the MLS. Okay, so right now here at the lake, because we don't have a coming soon option in our board, we need to avoid the coming soon mailers. Right. To begin with, I would hope you wouldn't do a coming soon unless you had a listing. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing as advertising something that you don't have any right to advertise to begin with. Mm-hmm. So when you do that coming soon, normally you've got a listing that says, take it today, but it's not going to be effective 2 weeks because they're going to be remodeling or something. That's kind of a coming soon. But right now we cannot do that. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So forget the coming soon right now. The board has been going back and forth with the Lake Ozark board on doing the coming soon thing. But right now, let's don't step into that trap. Better safe than sorry. Roger that. So Margie asked, does anyone have a sample of the postcards that are available through the KW? Has anybody sent out postcards and maybe have one of the ones that went out? I know Matt sent some out. I'm trying to think of who else has been sending them out. I don't think Jamie's comes from that.
Has anybody else used that and maybe have? I think they were pretty high quality. Matt, can you confirm
Are
that?
these from Sierra Grind sent out through?
Ah, okay. There you go.
Richard got this. I keep a sample of everybody's that come through the mail.
Nice.
They are really good quality. They look really, 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 really professional. So yeah, if you have the opportunity, use them. And if it's something that you like to do and sending out mailers, it's a great way to leverage our new technology.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Matt. So Connie, what else do we need to be aware of this year in compliance? Have you had a lot of questions around the COVID amendments and how to use them?
I haven't. I haven't had any unless Karen has.
Which means either everybody totally knows them or nobody's using them, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
And they're pretty self-explanatory.
They
And
are.
we have a few agents who are doing them and putting them in. And we have, probably not even half of our agents who are using them and putting them in, and the rest are not.
Okay. And they're not required, right? It's if something gets delayed based on the COVID virus, then that's when you use that amendment.
Well, there's also one that if you're going to show property that they sign, no.
It's like a hold harmless in case either the buyers would come in and leave something behind, or they come in and catch something while they're there.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So it's only if necessary. It's not a required amendment.
No.
Right. Okay. Excellent. 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 Any
The
other?
main thing I like to say is how important it is once you get something under contract, a listing under contract, a contract under contract, that you submit it for review. You don't submit it until it's signed by everyone. So in other words, we don't want you every time you write a contract, submit it for review and bombard Karen with stuff that's not under contracts. But once you get a listing signed, once you get a contract, submit it for review. Don't wait weeks or months down the road to submit it and then find out you've missed stuff. Just do it immediately once it's under contract.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, we had an agent last week, and I'm not going to call them out, but they closed. They got to closing, and then had not ever started a loop. The old system of dial loop. Obviously, the new Four Seasons people don't worry about dial loop, but that's what we used to use. They didn't even have a loop open with any of the paperwork, and they had not done a green sheet, and this was post closing, and they wanted to know why we wouldn't give them their check. And the only thing I can say is I guess I come from a market where they allowed table funding, and so the agents were really good at getting their stuff in on time and getting their green sheets done early because they wanted to get that check there at the closing table, and that was the only way to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But guys, I know I can speak for the group in Branson as well. Get your files in for compliance in a timely manner and get your green sheet started in a timely manner. It helps us so much with our business projections. It helps us so much in the back office, and it helps us get you paid when you close your deal. So please, for the best of everyone, get your files in and get your green sheets in, or if you're using Command, which is what we're all going to, get your commission requests submitted through Command.
And remember, this is a service that we do, and you were doing it at Four Seasons, and this is our filing system. MRC says those files have to be in a system for the company, and it's just something that helps protect you and your buyers and your sellers, to have them checked by Karen to say, whoops, we missed this, or you forgot to do this, and it takes care of those problems, which can contribute to lawsuits down the road or all kinds of things. So just be aware that this is for your protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it never comes up the week after closing, right, Connie? It's a year from now when a problem comes up and you want to find that file. So that's right. That's a good point. If you aren't aware, when it comes to backing up your own files, and this is for our Four Seasons agents too, your kw.com email address is a full G Suite account that includes a Google Drive. So if you want to back up all your files from your computer into your Google Drive, you'll have a backup copy as well, right? But you need to get them submitted in a timely manner and get your green sheets in. So, or your commission request through Command. Sorry, I'm gonna have to work on calling them green sheets. I know it's Command commissions now. So, all right. Anything else, Connie, that you've been seeing or dealing with a lot?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All
Connie,
right.
I need you to go into designated, because we talked about that last week that people are still confused.
I think Four Seasons, who's been doing it for a while, understand it completely.
Yeah.
But we had a few agents that are sending me in things to sign, and where it says I sign for a designated agent, they need to realize they need to put their name up there. Who am I designating? If you're a team, it needs to be your team name, or you and your team name. If it's just you as an individual, your name. But every buyer's agent and every listing needs to be signed by me, designating you as the agent, and your name needs to be up there, or your team name.
Jenna Bates just fessed up and said guilty. She put guilty in there. We weren't going to call anybody out.
She called and asked. That's the good thing. She says, "Am I doing this right?" And I have no problem. Call me if you've got a question you don't understand it. But it's very important. Designated agency is going to be something that's new to us, but it's a big benefit that we're not going to be doing dual agency unless we're selling our own listing.
Do they do designated in Branson? Does anybody know?
They just started.
They just started there as well? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sure these are questions that they need to hear too. That's good.
So as Connie said, it's on the buyer's agency agreement. And yes, people, we're still working on trying to get you to all get those into your files right away. Don't wait until it's time to close and I'm asking you for that buyer's agency. Please get them in.
So Claire fesses up and says, okay, I'm guilty too. And then she asks, do we only use designated seller's agent now?
Well, we do. So every listing we take, every new listing we take should be designated. If you want to go back to your old listings that were not designated, then you can go, and there is a form that will designate, that I can designate you as the agent for that listing, and it's in the MAR forms.
Okay, good, because that was her next question is, do we need to go back and update last contracts?
I say not, yes. I would say yes, you do. That would be a good thing. Otherwise, right now we're working on two different sets. In other words, if you took a listing 4 months ago and it wasn't designated, it can't be designated unless I designate you. So to do that, there is a form to do that with.
Gotcha. So, and you guys in Branson that just started doing this as well, you might want to talk to your broker, make sure, and go back and get your listings that were older and get them updated. Excellent. Good question, Claire. Thank you.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm just looking at when the contract was written to try to figure out whether it's a yes or whether it's a not, which it is. So.
And once you do that, say you took an old listing 3 months ago, and then we designated you on that form to be a designated agent, then you also need to go into the MLS system and change that from being a seller's agent to be a designated seller's agent. That's one way they know what to put on the contract.
Okay. Jenna Bates asked, would it be possible to do an example list of contracts with instructions to all of us? Do we have some sort of, Karen or Connie, do we have a contract that we've dummied up and filled out?
You mean the entire contract to fill it out?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think so.
I know I have one that I sent to someone at Four Seasons, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who I sent that to, but I sent one to them last week that I did dummy up and do that too because they asked me. I'll find that and try to post that.
Okay, Jenna clarifies, just to deal with the instructions of D agent. Oh, designated agent. I'm guessing D agent. Yeah, well, you know what, Jenna, I'll get with Karen and we'll put something together and we'll share it out. Also, we'll upload it in the files. We're all part of our Facebook group, so we'll upload it in the files there on Facebook so that you can find it there as well.
I might say something else about the contracts. When I've been looking at contracts for agents before they send them out or whatever, a lot of times, you know, when it says blank 5 if none stated, or 7 if none stated, if you're not changing that number of days, so if you're leaving it at 5, don't put anything in there. Only put something in there if you're changing those dates. So y'all know what I'm talking about? On the contract, there's several places where it says blank 5 if none stated, or 10 if none stated, or whatever. Unless you're changing those dates, don't put something in.
Roger that.
Using the default numbers, just leave it blank.
Exactly. And if it doesn't say initial here, don't initial here, okay? The old aspect of initial in each page of a contract, it does not say initial here, so do not do that. Initials are for if you were making a change. If you had a contract and instead of doing a counter offer, you blanked out and changed something, then everyone would initial it. And on a listing, everyone includes you, because the contract is between you, Keller Williams, and the seller. So if you change, say you sent out a listing and you had it $100,000, and he says, no, I want 110. You said, okay, just mark that out and initial and date to the right of it or the left or whatever. If that's done, then you also have to initial that, because the contract on a listing is between the agent and the seller.
All right, excellent. Good answer there, guys. Rick Servant, luxury realtor extraordinaire, types in, is it also necessary to check the box at line 416 and or 423 of the residential sale contract?
Yes, it is.
Well,
And if
okay.
you don't, that's the little box at the bottom that says that you're a designated agent.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
yes, you do.
So check that box, because if you're a designated agent, you need to say, yes, you're a designated agent. All right, good job. So other questions around designated agents? We want to make sure everybody has all the information they need on that.
Clear as mud, right?
There's mud.
Hey, Connie,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
So you said something, if we are, I kind of had a debate about this with my new team. If we're designated agent and we're selling our own Wigan Associates property, we are dual. We're not.
You are if you have a buyer's agency agreement.
Okay.
So just like before, within the company before, it was if you have the buyer's agent in the company and the listing in the company, you have to convert to dual or transaction. This means that if you as a team have a buyer's agency, so one of your agents on your team has a buyer's agency and it's your team's listing, you have to be dual or transaction, which again, you know how I feel about transaction. So
All right, good question.
that's why dual is still on our list of what we do. We can be a dual agent, we can be a designated agent, we can be a seller's agent, we can be a transaction broker, but we still can do dual, and we still will until we get all of our listings transferred over to designated and our buyer's agencies over to designated.
So Tori asked, how do you feel about transaction?
Transaction broker, transaction broker, you are not to give any advice. And I have a difficult time doing that. I'm too old and too motherly to do that when I'm working with especially new buyers, even on second homes, and it's their first, second home. I want to give advice. So as a transaction broker, I cannot do that. So I don't even mark transaction brokers on mine, because I don't want to convert to a transaction broker. I would be at fault if I did that, because I would not adhere to being a transaction broker.
Gotcha. All right. So Ellen T. Meyer just wants to confirm. So on our own listings, if we have a buyer's agency, we have to be dual, right?
On Ellen, if it's your listing and your buyer's agency, even if it's marked designated, you have to convert to dual.
Okay. And then
Because
Mary,
you would be representing both the buyer and the seller as a designated agent, and that makes you dual.
Gotcha. And then Mary Albers texted me a question. When you are dual agent, are you designated too?
No, you're not.
Okay.
So in other words, if you were writing a contract Marion, it was on your team and it was your buyer's agency on your team and your listing and you had to convert to dual, you would just be dual agent.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm glad we brought this up because it sounds like there's still a lot of questions around it. So if you guys have, and if you have questions, you know, Karen and Connie are always there to it's always better to ask, right? Make sure you get it right.
Exactly.
Good questions.
And Connie and I have this relationship where if I get an email and I don't want to answer it, I send it to Connie for her to answer. And we just did that this weekend, and then we had a discussion together on what the answer should be.
Exactly. Exactly.
Gotcha.
It was a difficult one because we had a listing that the agent was approached by the seller that he would sell it to him at a reduced price. Well, how are you going to buy your own listing? Not an easy thing to do. So what we decided to do was to withdraw the listing, do an authorization to show where he was not representing the seller, because if you're buying something, you have to be your own agent. You can't be a transaction broker or a seller's agent if you're buying it. You have to be a buyer's agent. So buying your own listings is a very difficult thing to do.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know you guys are sorting out the hard problems and I don't have to answer those questions because I wouldn't know what to say. So that's why we have Connie and Karen. All right. So unless there's anything else around the dual agency or compliance, Karen, let's switch gears and talk a little bit. We're still getting a lot of questions on flat fee commissions because especially here at the lake, I don't know if it's this way at Branson, but here at the lake, there's a lot of lot sales and lot sales. Tori says she'll need a class on that. All right, good.
Well, and I will do a loom on that, and I'll kind of discuss that. That's not really the subject that I had planned on cover today, but
Oh, all right. Well, let me get out of your way, please. Cover your subject.
You're good. So I will do a loom and send that out. But basically, when you have a flat fee, when you are in commissions and it says that it's 3% and gives a number and that's not right, you just go to that amount of money and backspace it and put on what the actual commission amount is. But I'll do a loom on that, which might hopefully make it a little more easy to understand.
Excellent.
Okay, so what I was gonna go into today, because I had people ask me about this last week, is when if you have a lost opportunity or if you archive an opportunity, where they are and how you can find them. So let me get in here. Because I know Robin and I had discussions on this, and Elizabeth Ford and I had discussions on this. So just trying to help people figure out some new, different, fun, exciting things.
Nice.
All right, so here's my opportunities, and I have a fake one in here to use. So I have an opportunity right here. Okay, say something happened to this, it fell apart, things changed. Maybe if I had the listing, that contract fell apart, but I have a new listing coming up, so I needed to archive the old. If you go to the three little dots, if you can all see that, and then you can go in here and you can archive this opportunity. So you click on that. It's gonna ask you to make sure that you want to archive it. I'm gonna say yes, I want to archive it. So I did that, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. Because we all know that happens, right? Okay, so then what I would need to do is go to my name, click on it, go down to settings, Okay, then I'd go to command settings and open that up. And I can go back down to opportunity archive. If I click on that, it and everything else I have archived is in here. I can go to restore and I can bring it back. So you didn't really lose it. It's still in there. You just have to go find it. That all make sense? Everybody nod. Thanks, Connie. All right. So now I'm going to go back. Say this thing totally fell apart and I just want to get rid of it. I lost the buyer, I lost the seller, I lost everything. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go over here to lost opportunity. I'm going to click on that and it's going to say, here's where I have to make the big decision, yes or no. So if I want to actually do it as a lost opportunity, I'll save it as that and it will disappear out of here. The thing about this is if you do that, it's hard to get them back, but you can go find where they are. And I will show you where they're at then if you need to go find it. And if you go up to all opportunities and click on all opportunities, it would be listed here. So that you know that what it was, you can still go in at it and look at it. Does that all make sense?
It does, and it's important for everybody to understand the difference. So when you go ahead and call it a lost opportunity, the AI is going to use lost opportunities to help calculate things like how often you get a contract from active status to closed and things like that. If you archive it, it's not going to affect your AI calculations. That's just a way of putting one away that maybe you double entered or you made a mistake or whatever. So if you want an accurate representation, if you want the AI calculators to learn your business and give you real production reports and real projections on what your numbers will close, then you need to be honest about, if a deal falls out or a client fires you or you fire the client, you need to call that a lost opportunity and not just archive it.
And I think somebody asked a question. Am I not right? I don't have that up, but I thought.
I don't have anything in the chat.
Okay. All right. Maybe not. Okay. So if that makes sense, we're going to move on just a little bit here.
Oh, Jenna says she do have a question.
You do have a question. What question does she have?
Hold on. She's typing.
Okay.
Can you bring it back from, okay, Lynn asked, can you bring it back from lost?
I have tried that and I have not been able to bring it back from lost. Yep. I had somebody else ask me about that and I just ended up telling them to start a new one.
Yeah, which is what I was going to say. If it's lost, if they fire you and you're totally out, then it's lost and you'll have to start a new one. So, if you think they'll come back and it's a temporary pause, maybe then you choose to archive it.
Correct. Because if you still have the listing, but say the sales fell through and you still have the listing, you just want to archive it or keep it as the listing. You don't need to have it as lost because it's not totally gone. Or say someone, like right now, someone took their house off the market right now. It's not lost. It's still there. They're going to come back. So you don't want to totally get rid of it.
Right. That it would be more for if someone fired you and said, you fired a client or something like that. Jenna asked, so would you lose both opportunities, the buyer one as well as the seller one? That depends, Jenna. If you were working both sides of a deal and both clients, you lost the buyer and the seller fired you, then you would call those both lost opportunities. That really depends on, if you're working both sides of the deal and what happens with each one. You might you might lose the buyer, but you didn't lose this listing. And Lynn asked, what's the 3 buttons on the right? Can you go back?
In my opportunity, is that what she's asking?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, cursor over the little 3 buttons there.
Okay, this is where you just click on it and it will give you the options. It's a few details of the opportunity, or to archive it. Is that what she meant?
I believe so, yes.
Did she answer back? No? Because I see the question count went up to 7. That's why I wondered.
Oh, yeah, no, well, okay, she meant when you're in the lost menu. So take back to the lost menu. And then Jenna said the thing to do would be have opportunities for both a buyer and a seller so you can keep one active that you might not have lost. Yeah, I would, well, if you have a buyer and a seller, you're always going to have separate opportunities. That's not ever going to be one opportunity, right? So yes.
Lynn meant these?
Yeah, Lynn meant those.
The same view or archive.
Mm-hmm. And the thing to do would have for both the buyer and seller, you can keep one active that you might not have lost. Yeah, if you didn't lose it, then you keep it active. Yes, if it's not a lost opportunity, you don't like a listing. If the buyer falls through, well, that listing's still an active opportunity, right?
Right, and then you can just move it back into where it's just a listing again. When you're in, let me get to the opportunities. You can just move it around, or you just drag and drop it. Like right now I have this as an appointment, but say it went active. Then it moves to active. If it goes under contract, move under contract. If the contract falls apart, then you just move it back to active.
Mm-hmm.
You can move this around in here as much as you want. The only thing I have heard and seen is if it ends up, if you're up here like under contract or up in the closing stuff, to be able to do it as a lost opportunity, you're probably going to have to back it up to active to be able to have that button light up that lets you do it as a lost opportunity. It's a little picky on that, but you just have to pick which category it will work under for all the buttons to light up. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe? So, okay.
And you don't, I mean, from a technicality standpoint, you don't ever have to archive or lost any of your opportunities if you don't want to. This is one of those where the more data you give the AI, the better it'll do it at learning your business, predicting your numbers. If you leave all of your opportunities in your opportunities, it's okay. We're not going to require you to call them a lost. That's for you to, if you're working it thoroughly, you should, so that you get a good prediction and a good understanding of your numbers, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah, it's for your benefit to know what's going on with your, I want to call them loops, but they're not loops, but with your opportunities.
Yeah, we're all going to have to learn the new vernacular here. So,
okay, Martin, do you have something you wanted to ask, or do you want me to go on with what I was going to do?
Well, Marina popped in. Is there a way to tell by looking if we have submitted a listing for compliance or not?
For them to know?
Yes.
Okay, let me get into Bobby Test and we'll do some playing in here so you can kind of see what's going on in here. Okay, if I go to documents in this, all right, so here's where the documents would go. You would go into this, go to documents, and this would be where you upload them. So you'll put them in here. Okay, once you get them all in here, you have to hit this button, the submit to MC. If you do not hit this, it does not come to me and I do not see them. Okay, so let me see if I got anything in here. Yeah, let me enter something into this. Okay, I'll put a listing contract in here. So I went, let me back up just so you can see what, and I can explain a little for those of you who haven't been in here. So here's the listing contract where it's going to go. I'm going to add a file to that, which means I'm going to go find the listing contract for this deal. So I'm going to add a file. I save my stuff right now. It's in Dropbox, so I'm going to do manual. So I'm going to drag and drop, which means I'm going to go look for it. So I want my test listing contract because it has nothing, it's just fake. So I'm click on that, going to open it. This is what I want. I'm going to hit assign, which means it's going to go into that position. So I assigned it. So then you will see this over here that you have added and attached a PDF to this. Okay. So once you've done that, and that's the only thing you're going to do right now, you come up to submit to MC. And you're going to click on that. It's going to ask to make sure you want to do this. And you can either cancel it or do yes. So you're going to submit it. And that means it comes to me to look at. And I know it's a little confusing because it's me to me, but that's what's going to happen. So for me, then I need to, I'm a little different than all of you because I then have to go to my MC, and I'm just going to kind of show you how this comes up. And let's see if
Let me remind everybody that this isn't for every time you write a listing or a contract until you have it signed by everybody. You do not want to submit it.
yeah, it's just easier if you send it when you have a bunch of documents in there signed. So I'm not going in there 20, 30 times.
Or
So-
looking at something that's not
Right,
in there.
but when I go back, like 2 days later, is there any way for me to tell, yes, I've submitted this one, no, I haven't submitted this one? Or do I just have to mark that down somewhere?
No, it says submitted.
Yeah, it says submitted on the side. I'll go back in just a second and show you where it says submitted.
Okay,
Okay, so when it comes to me, I go into Command MC, and it's going to bring up all the things that people, all the opportunities people have submitted to me. So when it gets into this, okay, so this morning people have been busy because I had that to 0. One person has submitted their commissions request to Amy, and 7 people have requested me to look at their files. And this is how I know what's going on and that I need to go find these files.
Boy, look at Margie killing it.
So we've had a lot of Four Seasons people putting all their listings in, which is great. So
Awesome.
I appreciate that they're doing that. I did, you know, and just so y'all know at Four Seasons, I'm not going to really push on you to get all your listings in really, really fast because I know if you have sales contracts, you need to get those in first. But as soon as you have time, then put all your listings in.
Gotcha. Hey, Tori asked on the left of each form, it will say returned or submitted, right?
Yep, I'll go back and.
Yep, that's right, Tori. It will.
Yeah, and or it'll say, yeah, or I'll leave you a message.
A very nice message.
Usually I'm pretty nice, Martin. Really, I am. You may not think so, but I am. All right, so let me go back into here. And for all of you, if this is all new, just come in here and play with this. As Martin and I have told you many times, come in and play, get comfortable, move things around, hit the buttons. Just come in and that's probably how y'all learned how to use your cell phone, is you came in and played with it.
Margie just said she put all her listings in, but then she saw an error on one when you shared that thing, so she's gonna get that sorted out.
Sorry. Yes.
That's all right. That's all right.
where?
Okay. So here's where it says that it was submitted, right over here.
All right.
Okay. So what you want to, when I'm doing these, what you really want to come up is where it will say approved right there. That's when you go, good, I got that. So, but there are places in here, just so you know, when I'm looking at your stuff, I can leave you messages. And usually I will tell you either if there's a document missing or if something needs to be fixed, I'll leave you a message.
And where will we see that?
Okay, do you see the little bell up here at the top?
Okay.
If you have a message or a notification, there'll be a little red dot up here on the top.
Okay.
And that's where those will be at. Or it will be on your phone on your Kelly app. It's got the same little bell and the little red button.
Great. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem.
So Lynn asked, does the commissions go directly to Amy when submitted, or do we have to submit differently? No, yeah, when you submit your commissions, it goes straight into the MCA office, right?
But they have to submit it. That is correct.
Yeah, you have to submit it.
So yeah, I mean, they have to look, make sure it's all filled out correctly. And then there's a button there where they submit it and then it goes to Amy.
Okay. So I want to circle back to Connie and Karen if you've hit all of the spots you wanted to hit, and we'll give people time to type in other questions. Denny Odie, guys, you can use the chat box to submit questions, but you can text me as well. Denny Odie, Connie says, probate scenario, parties arguing over value of property. And that was what he sent me, was several question marks after each.
Say it again. I'm not following what the question is.
It says he has a probate scenario where the parties are arguing over the value of a property.
Well, that's always the case, is that our job is to see if we can't get them to agree on a price, and we can't always do that. I will say, depending on how far we're off on something, you know, I'm really strict on getting the full commission when you take a listing or whatever, and not giving on our commissions. But I am one that if we've got a deal that we can keep together, because we can give a little bit and the other agent can give a little bit, maybe the buyer and seller can give a little bit, that we can put a deal together and go forward with whatever else we're doing. But I don't know whether you've got the buyer or the seller. If you've got the buyer, you should have already given them comps as to what it should sell for. And if you give them that and it shows that it's worth this amount and they're not willing to pay it, there's not much we can do.
Gotcha.
Anybody got any other suggestions on that when you're dealing with somebody, you know, that you just can't get the price together?
Wendy said appraisal, which, you know, if it comes down to it and they want to pony up for an appraisal, that will solve the problem.
Maybe, yeah.
Absolutely. Good point, Wendy. And Denny, I'll tell Denny he probably ought to reach out to you with some more specifics, Connie, if he's looking for clarification.
Okay.
So other questions for Connie or Karen around compliance, commissions, how to submit, forms, etc.? Elise he was watching, but he bailed. So I'll tell him.
If there are any questions, I might go into a little bit on buyer's agency.
Sure, we got a few minutes. Go ahead.
Well, buyer's agent, we are all geared towards getting them to sign a buyer's agency. But the thing I want you to do is not only get them to sign it, whether it's for a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever it is, but also to explain to those buyers what your obligations are and what their obligations are. Like, you're right up front with them in, okay, we're signing a contract, and I'm going to be your agent. Now, what does that mean to you, Mr. Buyer? That means that if you see something, a for sale by owner, an open house, a sign, an ad, you contact me, or if you contact the agent that has it listed, you right up front let them know that you're working with me. You want to set those expectations, not just say, oh, I'm your agent, I'll take care of you. you want to explain to them that they have an obligation to you too. This is going to help you prevent those buyers that you've been working with for 3 months and all of a sudden they go directly to another agent and write a contract. And it happens. And a lot of times I think it happens because they're not aware of what their obligations are to you. And explain to them, if you buy from someone else, you still owe me a commission. Now, have we ever collected that? No, but could we? Yeah, probably. But also your obligation as a buyer's agent is not just to sign them up and put them in the MLS, but is to keep in contact with them and help find what they're looking for. So it's not just, oh, I've signed this agreement. When you sign a listing agreement, your job is to get it marketed and get it sold, to keep them up on what the prices are. When you sign a buyer's agency agreement, your job is to help them find the house they want, negotiate it out. And that also includes, Denny, that you would, when it comes time to write an offer, that you would do comps to either support or negate the price that that listing is worth. In other words, if he found a house he wanted that's $100,000 and you knew it was only worth 80, you would tell him that. Now they make their own decisions. We don't decide for them what they pay for a property, but we can give them suggestions and backup and proof as to what it should sell for or what they should buy it for.
Excellent. Okay. And just for an update, Wendy let us know that Branson's not doing designated agent at this time. So for you Branson agents, apparently that is something you guys are not doing at this moment. But you know, still, if you have questions around it or you're unclear, be sure and talk to your in-house broker down there. And I'm sure he or she, I don't know who the in-house broker is, but I'm sure he or she can answer any questions you have around it. So thank you, Wendy, for pointing that out. Though Deb Mundell, so it sounds like a she. So I'm sure she can answer any of the questions you have around it. Thank you, Wendy, for pointing that out. We certainly don't want to confuse any of our Branson family with this. So, all right, well, if there's no other questions, I want to thank Connie and Karen so much for bringing value. And I know everybody likes to talk about how to get paid, so it's always a good class to learn how to get compliant and get paid. I want to thank all of our Branson family and all of our Lake of the Ozarks crew for jumping in and joining this morning, continuing to stay focused on your business, get up, start off on the right foot. I want to remind everyone, please, please, please sign up for Bold Pivot. Remember, we got 30 scholarships in each market center, so there's really no reason not to reach out and get signed up for it next month. It's going to be a great class. I want to encourage you to invite realtors you know outside of Keller Williams to these trainings as well as Bold Pivot. We're here to help everyone. We want to grow everyone's business. They don't have to be a Keller Williams agent for us to pour into them. I want to thank everybody for being here. Tomorrow we're doing best practices around taking a listing. So we're going to do a mastermind with some top agents and get everybody to talk about successes they're having in this kind of abnormal environment and getting listings. And Wednesday we're doing virtual open houses with Sierra. So a couple of great classes the next couple of days. We hope you'll join us. Otherwise, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I hope you continue to pray for your fellow agents in our country. And if there's anything that myself or the staff can do for you at either market center, please let us know. We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat station. Thanks, everybody.